Hello everyone and welcome to the Red Men TV. I am here at Carragher's bar in New York City with today's Liverpool news update. Made the trip up from Philadelphia. Is it up or across? Doesn't matter. For the day. Anyway, so we're going to spend some time seeing the sights in New York. But first, I want to give you your latest Liverpool news update. And yeah, the magnificent Carragher's. Fantastic. People looking after us well already. So let's crack on with it. I want to start with Curtis Jones. If you haven't already, at the end of this video, do go and check out on the YouTube channel Paul's chat with Curtis Jones. It was fantastic really, and Curtis took the opportunity to clarify his comments that he made in his press conference about the style of play between Arne Slot and Jurgen Klopp. It was perhaps seen as a bit of a dig or disrespectful to Jurgen Klopp, but Curtis Jones was quick to put that to bed last night. So do go and check it out. I thought it was worth mentioning. And yeah, if you listen to it, you'll understand Curtis' point. He just said, the new system suits me more, but there's no disrespect to Jurgen. You know, Jurgen's the man who gave me my career, give me all low starts. I'd never disrespect him. He just feels like he might be able to get a little bit more out of himself on the ball in Slot's system. But do go and check that out, but it's worth mentioning. Curtis, quick to put the record straight. No disrespect to Jurgen Klopp. He wasn't exactly thrilled with how the story was kind of twisted a little bit there. Speaking of things that happened after the game yesterday, Fabio Carvalho spoke to the press. He actually spoke to Grizz. If you go and check out Grizz Khan's Twitter, you'll find it, where Fabio confirmed he's aiming to stay, doesn't want to go out any more loans. And Chris Bascom has reported in the Telegraph about Fabio Carvalho. He said that the forward/winger will not be loaned out again. He's either going to stay at Liverpool or he will be sold. I think both him maybe and the club have had enough of the loans. And it's now or never really for Fabio. He's either going to stay full time or he's going to leave. He scored a very good goal. I was fortunate to be at the link yesterday when he scored that wonderful goal set up by Harvey Elliott. He played off the left. I know for a fact, 'cause I've been at the training sessions, they've done a lot of work with Fabio Carvalho on that left hand side. So maybe the plan might be to keep him. I don't know, but if they are going to sell him, Chris says they're going to look for a substantial fee, and that doesn't surprise me either. Liverpool paid around £7 million for him, and I reckon they'd want much more than that, and they will probably get it as well. Maybe off a Championship club, given how well he did at Hull on loan. He's obviously done well in the Championship for Fulham. Maybe, I reckon Fabio might be aiming higher than that. Maybe a Premier League club, or he gets to stay. He's got a couple more weeks, of course, to impress the manager. The transfer window's open for another month, so of course plenty can happen in that time. But just worth mentioning, no more loans for Fabio Carvalho. He either stays or he goes, and time will tell what it is. My guess, if I had to guess, is that he's probably going to leave. But we'll see how it goes. Listen, he wouldn't be the first person to look like he was on his way out the door and then earn himself a shirt. So fair play to Fabio if he can do that. The main part of today's show then is I want to speak about Joe Gomez, and I know been a lot of reporting around Joe and what came out. I think it was early yesterday US time for me. Report from me and Doyle and the Echo confirmed obviously that Liverpool were open to letting Joe Gomez leave to go to Newcastle as part of a deal to bring Antony Gordon. That all collapsed. But again, going back to Chris Bascom's reporting today, he says that Joe Gomez is still considering his Liverpool future after the Reds were prepared to sacrifice him in a deal for Antony Gordon. And that's kind of what can happen, in these situations, is that if you tell a player, yeah, maybe we don't mind you leaving, and then that deal falls through. I mean, from a pride point of view, from an ego point of view, but also from if they were willing to let me go, am I in the plans? So I can see exactly why Joe Gomez would be, hang on a minute. If you were willing to let me go and I was halfway out the door anyway, before Newcastle did all the deals to solve their PSR problems, what's the point of me hanging around? Am I not wanted? I can imagine that would have hurt Joe Gomez a little bit, and so it should. You know, he's been at Liverpool, he's Liverpool's longest serving player. He played a lot of games last season, he did a lot of work for Liverpool, and not often it was, I'm not going to say donkey work, but he was filling in where needed. He was playing left back, he played right back, he played centre midfield, he did everything that was asked of him. And for the club to then go, yeah, actually you can leave, maybe, I can see why that would be a bitter taste. Maybe he's had a chat rather with Arne Slot and clarified his future there, I don't know. But yeah, Joe Gomez considering his future, and we'll see if Liverpool get anywhere near the £45 million reported fee at Newcastle. We're potentially going to pay for him. I think if you lose Joe Gomez, that's a big blow, I think, in terms of your squad depth. I don't think Joe's ever first choice in any position. He might argue that he deserves a chance at centre-back. But given Konate and Kwanzaa, I'm not sure Joe's going to get that. So I can see why he wants to go somewhere and play and be first choice, because like I say, he's not going to be first choice anywhere else. But he's a valuable squad option. You know, last year Liverpool had him playing right back because of injuries, left back, like I've mentioned. He played number 6 as well. So if Liverpool do lose Joe Gomez, that is a piece where you lose a lot of depth in a couple of key positions. James Milner, when we lost him, it was kind of the same thing. You're not just losing one player, you're losing one player who can do a number of roles and do them well. Have Liverpool got that type of versatile player? It's hard to think off the top of my head. Sepp Vandenberg's played a bit of full-back at times. Maybe if he stays. But in terms of across the back line, yeah, that'd be a tough one. So we'll keep an eye on Joe's future, but it looks like, you know, he's prepared to go. It's just whether someone now is prepared to pay the fee. And I imagine Liverpool, like I say, are going to hold out for a pretty substantial fee, given that they were asking for around £45 million for Joe Jordan, that Newcastle saga. So I definitely want to keep an eye on. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts. Do let me know in the comment section below, or if you're listening to this as a podcast, you can get in touch with us over on social media. Just let us know your thoughts on Joe Gomez. Would you be happy for him to go? Do you want him to stay? Can you understand why he's a bit pissed off maybe? Because I half get it, I must admit I do. Flipping that over then, we assume maybe the same could be the case of Antony Gordon. Obviously the report was he was closing in on a move to Liverpool before that all fell through. And there's been a bit of an assumption like he'd still like to join Liverpool. He was a bit annoyed that that deal didn't happen himself. So the latest reporting came from Fabrizio Romano, who said Liverpool are still interested in Antony Gordon. You know, they're interested in end when that PSR whole thing got resolved for Newcastle. Liverpool are still interested in the player. But I'll go back to Chris Bascom's transfer article in the Telegraph, and he says no talks have been held between Liverpool and Newcastle since them initial talks about the Gomez-Antony Gordon deal. And actually there's no indication at this moment in time that Newcastle would sell the player. So again, it's a bit different when you're not, to be honest, and I understand some of our American viewers and listeners with this. Sometimes keeping up with the news, you know, given the release times and stuff, is a bit hard, and reaction to it. A lot of this news broke yesterday when we were still in bed, and you're waking up and you're searching through, looking what's going on. There seems to be, I don't know if assumption is the right word, but like a lot of people in the Liverpool Twitter sphere, let's put it that way, or the media space, suggesting that Antony Gordon, you know, this could be back on. Well, I don't know. That's obviously, it's all speculation, and there's been no talks between the two clubs, which suggests there's nothing imminent. But yeah, I don't know if this one's dead in the water. If it's not, Liverpool are still, like I say, according to Fabrizio, really strongly interested in the player. I find that fascinating because if Liverpool sign Antony Gordon, that will be the biggest fee they spend this summer. I've got no doubt about that. I would be shocked if they bought him for £70 million and then went even bigger than that. So for Liverpool to invest that money in a forward player would suggest that is not only for the here and now, because of course Antony Gordon could feature, but also maybe for the future as well. How exactly he fits into Liverpool's team? Does he go in straight away and be the first choice left winger? For me, he doesn't exactly seem the exact style of left winger that I thought Arne Slot would be looking for, but that was based off his Feyenoord days and what we've seen in pre-season. But of course, he hasn't had all his players available. He's never had a player like Antony Gordon, so maybe he could change it. Is there a point where he is brought in a year in advance of Mo Salah leaving on a free next summer, and maybe Antony Gordon becomes a future right forward, because he definitely can play there as well? But yeah, it would be a significant outlay, and actually I think Liverpool have got other areas where they might want to improve, where maybe they could use that outlay. But I do remember Richard Hughes saying they're looking for opportunistic signings. I remember that was the phrase he used at his initial press conference, and Antony Gordon might be that. There's a player who you think you might have a sniff at getting, who clearly wants to join the club. I think it would be remiss to suggest otherwise at this point in time. So maybe it is that Liverpool just being opportunistic, like they were willing to be last year with Moises Caicedo. But yeah, I've got the sense that this isn't the end of the Antony Gordon saga. And then the last one I want to bring up today, guys, again, it goes back to, and this is across most of the journalists, but I just want to have a little chat about it. Chris mentioned it in his piece. I know James Pearce mentioned it in The Athletic as well. James Pearce, by the way, star of yesterday's matchday vlog. If you haven't went and watched it, do go and check it out. We were on the fan park. We were in the mix zone with JP having a cob on because he couldn't get a coffee. So do go and check that out. Anyway, they've all reported Liverpool are looking for a number 6, but more of a ball-playing number 6. They want someone who maybe is comfortable in like more of a double pivot, someone who's able to receive the ball and give it out and give it on. I think it's interesting, and I think you can actually learn a little bit from this. That Endo didn't start in the second pre-season friendly. He was fit and available. He obviously plays the second half. but the manager did go with like Curtis Jones, Dom Sobos, like pivot almost a little bit. Harvey Elliott doing bits in the midfield as well. Players who you'd say are more comfortable on the ball. We've seen Curtis play as a number 6 for Liverpool before. I'm not sure that exactly suits his game to a T, but maybe as part of a 2 he could. I don't know who that player is. Is the unavailable ball-playing centre mid who you can get for who wants to leave is available, the money's right. I don't know. Again, you guys can teach me. Let me know in the comment section if there's someone who fits that bill that you'd like Liverpool to sign. Please do let me know. But I think that's interesting. We're moving away, it looks like, from the sole player, number 6 in the middle, who just runs around, gets the ball back, passes off to the good lads. Because that's what we thought of a number 6 for Jürgen for quite a while. Obviously, can dictate play a bit as well. Of course they can. They're not idiots, but it looks like Liverpool are going the other way. They're going to put more emphasis on the possession, the player be able to receive the ball comfortably on the turn and go. Maybe Alexis McAllister falls back into that role when he returns, obviously after his holidays, after the Copa America. But I do think that's interesting. It's definitely one to keep an eye on. And after being live, obviously I've been to 2 friendly games now, and there's nothing like seeing football in the flesh to judge truly what's going on. And we all can see Arne Slot is going for that possession-based style of football. It's obvious. So therefore this makes sense. The players playing out from the back, probably taking risks at the back, the goalkeeper holding on to the ball, the centre halves, all that kind of stuff. They do want to play through midfield, so you can see why he's after one. I don't know who that'll be, but definitely keep an eye out, because I think that will, if Liverpool do any business, I think the Gordon thing's separate. I think that would just be, like I say, if an opportunity arises, I do think Liverpool will be actively targeting a centre midfielder, someone who is more comfortable in possession perhaps than Endo. And people say that's like a dig at Endo when we say things like this, and it's not. It's just a different type of game. His game's different. We've got a new manager now. What Jürgen wanted from his 6 is different. It looks like than what Arne Slot wants from his deepest line midfielder. I like Endo. I think he's decent. I wouldn't be adverse to him hanging around in a senior squad role. We can play certain games. There might be games where you do need that type of more combative player. But obviously the interest in Marseille and stuff like that, we'll see what Endo's future is. But definitely thought that was interesting as well. That Liverpool are looking for that ball-playing type deep midfielder rather than the out-and-out destroyer number 6. That is today's Liverpool news update. Hope you've enjoyed it. Right here in Carragher's bar, where I'm going to go and order a drink because it is a very, very, very hot day here in New York City. Tomorrow we'll be making the trip down to South Carolina as well, so do stick around on the channel. We'll have loads of content from Carolina, where Liverpool are going to play their 3rd pre-season friendly against Manchester United, so do join us for that. Go and check out all the amazing content from the link as well. We've got vlogs, we've got Paul's Mixo Madness, which was actually very, very funny. He turned what is actually usually a very serious working environment for the journos into well, he red-mended up, basically. We took the piss and had a laugh. So go and check that out. Go and check out the interview with Curtis Jones. It is absolutely fantastic. You won't regret it. And yeah, check back in when we're down in Carolina. See you later, everyone.